In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make a card just similar to this. I'm just going to do a slightly different version, but exactly the same techniques, using the brand new JND471 Festive houses. And this die is a version of the larger lantern house, which is in the John Next Door collection for Christmas 2024. So this is one of the larger houses made as a lantern, and this set obviously contains everything to make the bigger house. This smaller set contains smaller versions of the house. So in here you're actually going to get the large and the smaller house, but they will tie in perfectly along with the actual larger house that you get within the lantern house set. So you can use all three together to give you a completely different look. So in this video I'm going to show you how to do this card and how we do the techniques. Now these dies have been designed so that they will work to cut into the card. They will cut all the little dots out all the way around, but they have these little flat areas as well. And these have been designed so that they'll work with your foiling machines, so that you can actually foil and cut, and you will get all these beautiful areas foiled. So you can do that, or use the reverse of the foil. I love this one. So this is using the waste from the foil to actually give you a beautiful sort of foiled house with white areas. But for this we're just going to do simple inking, because by cutting these and inking over the top, that depressed area will shine even more. You can even also ink the die, as I've done here with the larger one, and you can cut it and it gives you this distressed house which prints on all of those lines. So lots of different options. So you get the inside and the outside for the large and the smaller. And so to start for this one, all we're going to actually do is to cut together the large and the small, just like this, to give us the perfect house. So I'm going to colour one of the smaller houses, and I'm just using VersaFine, again in vintage sepia, which is one of the standards that I use all the time, and one of the Crafts 2 finger daubers. And all I'm going to do is ink around the outside to start with. So this way I get a heavier look around the outside. And then I'm simply going to take the dauber and rub it roughly all over. And this way I've run out the ink already. I get these lovely little distressed marks, but you can see there that where the embossing is, or the debossing is, it gives a very clean line. And of course you could take some of the pearl dimension and just pipe that on, but I'll show you that on the finished card. So we've made our little house. What we want to do then is to use the same die to cut out a backer, and I've done this using a craft card. But if you put them together flat, you can see it's a little bit flat. So the best thing to do is to take a little bit of foam tape. So here I've got a little bit of 2mm foam tape, so it's not too deep, and I've just cut it in half so that I get the right sort of width to put on there. So we're just going to cover the roof, and then we'll put a little bit at each of the bases. It doesn't have to be everywhere. You could use your little foam squares if you want to. That's a great way to use up those little foam squares that we've all got that we've never get to use. And just place that on top. But if you can see there, by doing it like that, you get a little bit of shadow and shine in the window. So it just works absolutely beautifully. So what I'm going to do now is I've made one of the larger ones, and I've popped this onto one of the frames. This is one of the frame maker dies from the new Christmas collection. If this isn't out at the time of this video going out, it will be out very, very soon. Be out by the end of July 2024. So I'm just going to take the house that I've made. So I've already foam taped on the larger one. I'm going to take the smaller one, and I want them to overlap. So I obviously want the foam tape to be in this section. And I'm going to put one layer in this section, but the section here that's going to go on the outside, so you just check that, line it up. I'm going to put 2 layers, and that way it will stand proud and it won't flop or flap about. So I'm just going to take off my protective cover. Here we go. And I'm going to pop, there we go, our second house on. And to finish this in the window, I could take just a simple piece of craft card. Here I've got one that I've just debossed, so I can pop that one in. nice and simple. But what I want to do onto this one is to add a sentiment. And I'm adding a sentiment from one of the new John Next Door sets. So I'm just going to take a piece of card. I'm going to use my press to impress, as it's far easier to do this, because I want to get this in the right place. I'm going to place that down into my press to impress, take my frame, pop it into place, and just use again a magnet if you want to hold it in there. And then I'm going to use a sentiment from the JND470's Festive Swirl sentiments. And I'm going to use this one here, which is From Our House to Your House, which I think is absolutely lovely at Christmas. Should we go there? Should we go in there? No, actually what I'm going to do is the other one that will fit better, which is From My Home to Yours. So again, you've got two different options. So I'm just going to pop that into place. Fits perfectly within there. Once I'm happy, close the lid, pick the stamp up. We then simply take our piece out. I'm going to use the same VersaFine. And I'm just going to stamp that twice so I get it nice and crisp, because sometimes on craft card it does soak in a little bit too much. We'll just pop that to one side, and I'll simply then trim that down to roughly 5 3/4 square, because that will fit in nice and nicely. And then you can leave that completely flat as I've done that, or I'm going to emboss it. This is using, I think this is from last year, the Snowfall embossing folder. So we'll simply emboss that through. And it's always stamped before embossing, because you can't stamp on an embossed surface. But you see there, the sentiment is still nice and readable. And I'm then going to take my Ice White from the Pearl Fusion range and just gently rub that over the top. And I'm just going to use my finger just anywhere where there's a little smear, just so that we've got a little bit of white showing on those bubbles. It makes it very obvious. So on the back of the frame, I've added some foam tape, again just 2mm foam tape. So simply like this. There we go. And we frame that into our sentiment. A little bit of Craft Artist low tack glue, or high tack glue should I say, on the back. Just check, there's a little bit of the folder showing through, so let's just trim that down by undercutting it. And then that goes onto a top fold 7x7 card that's just been matted and layered with a little bit more of the coconut white and a little bit of burgundy. So there we have our beautiful card. I'm just going to finish it off and decorate it. So I've got some of the hawthorn cut in gold here. So these have been cut in gold. These are the smaller hawthorn leaves. And all I've done is add a little bit of white pearl dimension onto these, just to sort of stimulate or simulate the berries. And we stick those down at the base so that they're still leaping off a little bit. And then we'll just add, and I've made a little flower up in the burgundy using the scarlet flower, which is perfect to use for Christmas as well. I'll just pop that into there. And there we go. A beautiful card sending Christmas or festive greetings from my home to yours with the brand new JND Festive houses.